All of the major video generators have had huge updates over the last couple months. The competition is really heating up. So I got the highest tier of Runway Gen 3, Luma's Dream Machine, Kling, and Pixverse, and ran a bunch of prompts through all of them. I'll compare, most importantly, the quality of generations. With any of these, you can generate things that felt impossible a couple months ago. I'll also compare pricing breakdowns, features, generation times, and a bunch of other stuff. That way you can decide which is best for you and whatever you're trying to create. And I ramp up to more complex generations by the end, and I think I may have found the final boss for AI video. I'll jump right into the video comparisons since that's the most exciting part. I'll start with text to video, but I'll spend more time on image to video later because that's the best way to actually have some control over your generations. Now on each prompt, I ran 3 generations on every platform, then picked the best from each. AI video takes some re-rolling. Sometimes you get a flop on the first try. The platforms are pretty straightforward to get started on. I'll do a brief overview as I run the first prompt on each. Starting with Runway, this is the main page when you open it. They have a whole suite of other useful tools, but Gen 3 is right up top and brings you here. Just type in a prompt for text to video. For image to video, you drag an image in up top. There's a few models to choose from. Gen 3 Alpha has the highest fidelity. Gen 3 Alpha Turbo generates much faster, and it still has pretty high quality. Then Gen 2 is the old model. I'll be on Gen 3 Alpha for all these comparisons. At the bottom, you have the option for 5 or 10 seconds. I'll stick with 5 through most of the video. Now I'll paste in the prompt. FPV shot. Camera pushes through dense jungle foliage, revealing a majestic waterfall. Lush greenery parts to frame the cascading water, mist rising. So I'll send that. While that's generating, I'll switch to Kling. Here's the main page. Click AI videos. Now I can switch between text to video and image to video up top. Image to video allows a beginning and end frame if you want. Paste the same prompt in here. There's a bar for creativity and relevance to guide how closely it tries to follow your prompt. I left it in the middle for all of these. Then standard or professional mode. Similar to Runway's 2 modes, professional mode is slower but higher fidelity, so I'll be using that. Options for 5 or 10 seconds. Then the aspect ratio, which is great because Runway doesn't give an option for vertical video right now. And Kling also has some nice controls for camera movement. I stuck to guiding camera movement through prompting for all of these so I could keep it uniform across all the platforms. Now I will generate. Now onto Dream Machine. This is the main page. Type your prompt, drag an image in if you want image to video. Luma also lets you add a start and end frame. I'll get rid of that, paste the prompt. There's an option to have Luma enhance the prompt for you if you'd like. I'm trying to keep these consistent, so that will be off. I'll send that prompt, then I can get the other 2 started as well. Now Pixverse. You can generate from the main screen, or I click here where I can see my previous generations as well. Drag an image in for image to video. It does have the option to add additional scenes if you want, only using text prompts, not additional images. I'll send that one too. So here's the best result from each tool. Runway looks great. There's a lot of movement. Everything's very coherent. The waterfall feels a little off, almost like it's sped up, but overall really good. Even has a nice lens flare. Kling looks even better. This is almost perfect. You can always find little things, of course. Like if I zoom in on these leaves, it looks like some of the leaves disappear maybe, or it's just a little distorted right here. That's a tiny detail. You'll always be able to find little stuff like that if you look close. The scene overall looks incredible. For Luma, this was the best option and it was a fail. It's grainy, bad perspective, and didn't really follow the prompt. Pixverse looks great. It does have the slow-mo feel that's really common with AI videos, but all the details are accurate and it has a nice composition. And I'll show my ratings on these as we go. I'd say the best is Kling, then Runway, then Pixverse, then Luma. And I'm just going to rank these in orders of first to last, and then the lowest score wins. You can generate without watermarks for all of these, by the way. I left them on to make it easier to tell which was which for this. The next prompt is a dynamic time-lapse shot of a bustling city transitioning from day to night. Runway nails this one. The prompt specified transitioning all the way into night with the stars coming out, which is a lot to do in 5 seconds. It handled that really well. Kling looks great. There is this blob that goes past down below that's way bigger than any car that would be passing through, and it didn't make it to the stars, but still solid. Luma added some nice motion into it. Not the best looking cars, a blurry blob just passes through. Doesn't feel as authentic, and didn't make it to the stars. Pixverse is okay. The car lights don't look very accurate, they're just these morphing lines. It also didn't transition from day to night at all, it just stays at sunset. So I'd say Runway, Kling, Luma, Pixverse. Onto some food. Syrup pouring into a stack of fluffy pancakes. And some of these prompts are kind of long. I'm not going to read every word of them. Runways looks delicious. A little off in the way the syrup spreads out at the beginning. Shoots around too quick at first, but looks really good after that. It also was supposed to have a pat of butter on top. Kling interacts with the butter and drips down the sides smoothly. The steam doesn't seem to be coming from the right places the whole time though. I like the camera motion from Luma. Not the syrup as much. I guess it's just extra thick. Pixverse looks good. I think it would have melted the butter a little more than that. This one's a tough call. I'll say Kling, then Luma, then Pixverse, then Runway. One more easy one, then it will start to get a lot harder. This is going to be a drone shot of a cliffside mansion with lion statues overlooking the ocean with waves crashing. Runway has great camera motion and solid looking waves. I don't see any lion statues though. Everything looks great from Kling, although this is a gigantic statue. Luma is lacking a lot of detail. All the features are just very soft and not particularly coherent lion statues. And this room up here doesn't look very architecturally sound. Pixverse looks good, but has that slow motion feel again. I'm not so sure about these statues either. Those don't look like lions to me. It's a toss-up between Kling and Runway, but I'll give number 1 to Kling. I like the Runway shot more, but Kling had better prompt adherence since he got the lion statues. Then Pixverse, then Luma. Right, now I'll step it up quite a bit. A dynamic shot of an orc holding a battle axe and riding a direwolf. Runway was a total fail here. It missed pretty much every part of the prompt. No battle axe, he's not riding the wolf. Total fail. Kling adhered to every part of the prompt and has a lot of dynamic movement. It does seem like it's pulling from some training data on horses. It looks kind of like a horse with a wolf head, but really solid movement and prompt adherence. Good job from Luma too. Definitely more wolf-like. It got every part of the prompt, except I don't think I'd call this a battle axe. Pixverse had great prompt adherence too. Maybe the best actually. That slow motion look again, but pretty natural movements. I'd say Kling, Luma, Pixverse, then a total fail from Runway. All right, another tough one, a Chinese New Year celebration with a full crowd of people and a dragon puppet. Runway's got a decent looking dragon, although the face isn't really there, and all the people have surprisingly coherent faces. Some weirdness from this guy up front, but a lot of detail in the crowd. Kling, immediately you notice a lot more morphing in the faces, but also more camera movement, and the dragon doesn't look very dragon-like at all. Luma has a great looking dragon. The faces are morphed, but not too bad. Definitely gets less coherent at the end. Pixverse has a good dragon, but not much movement in the camera or scene. And no one seems to be facing the camera, so you can't tell how the faces look. I'll give that to Runway, then Luma, then Kling, then Pixverse. If you want help learning how to utilize AI at work, I have a free ChatGPT resource bundle down in the description provided by HubSpot. There's a total of 5 PDFs that go in depth on how you can utilize ChatGPT in your career to get ahead, solve problems, or save time. My favorite of those is called Supercharge Your Workday with ChatGPT. It covers specific examples of how ChatGPT can be used across various industries: sales and marketing, project management, enhanced decision-making and problem-solving, time management and organization. It walks through step by step with multiple tips. It even has a section called 100 Ways to Try ChatGPT Today, with 100 sample prompts you can use or modify no matter what career you may have. There's sure to be a bunch of prompts in there that apply. And that's just one of the resources in the bundle, which again is completely free. Just use the link in the description to go download that. I'm always happy to partner with HubSpot to provide free resources to the people that watch this channel. I tried out a few of the prompts from the Sora demos through these, starting with a litter of golden retrievers playing in the snow. A lot of movement in the runway shot, a little morphing in the dogs. It's the same case with Kling, nice and playful, but morphing. Not much morphing from Luma, but an easier shot. Same with Pixverse, only a little morphing, but an easier shot to achieve. Runway, Kling, Luma, Pixverse. I did this shot of the monster with the red candle. None of them look particularly good or particularly bad. Kling, Runway, Pixverse, Luma. Now the famous woman walking down a Tokyo street shot. Runway looks really solid. It's not a full body shot though, so you can't tell how good the walk cycle is. Kling did a great job. Even the people in the background look right, and it followed the prompt perfectly. Luma, not so great. It did follow the prompt well, but the whole perspective feels off, and she looks like she's sliding across the ground. Pixverse, again with slow motion, but followed the prompt. A little morphing in the face and hands. Runway looked amazing, but didn't show the boots, which were part of the prompt, so I'll give it to Kling, then Runway, then Pixverse, then Luma. The last text-to-video I wanted to try was something involving text. Runway has some amazing abilities for title sequences. I did a whole section on that in a previous video, so I tried using that same prompt with the other tools. Runway looks great with the text appearing, which is how I wrote it into the prompt. It struggled with the spelling. Futurepedia is a long word. I've had Runway get it right before, but not this time. Kling can't do text at all. I didn't get a single letter in it. I also tried some prompts using other words to double check. Luma looks great. I couldn't get the text to materialize. It would just have it there the whole time. Same with Pixverse, really solid, but didn't follow the prompt how I wanted. This is a tough one to call since Runway followed the prompt but had a misspelling. I'll go Luma, Pixverse, Runway, then Kling. So part of the reason why I leaned towards lowering the score for Runway is it struggles not only with spelling, but for some reason every time I try to prompt text with Runway, I get a ton of errors. It tries to generate, you wait the full time, then it fails and says the prompt is blocked. This has happened to me across a lot of different attempts at creating text, and it has happened with other prompts too. No real rhyme or reason, even when there's 0 words that could be controversial in them. Now it's time to move on to image. I'll do another quick demo on each of these. I've got this picture of a cat chopping fish on a cutting board that I generated in Midjourney. The first 5 of these will all be Midjourney images. For Runway, I drag it in, then add a prompt, and generate. Same with Kling, drag the image in, add the prompt, and make sure it's on professional, then generate. It's the same for all of these, drag it into Luma, prompt, and generate. Then with Pixverse, drag it in, add the prompt, and generate. Runway stays really coherent and has great motion. Not using proper cutting technique though. Kling is solid. You can see the fish actually gets cut into 2 pieces and stays coherent. Luma looks really good, but super slow motion. Same with Pixverse, but a little less fidelity. Kling, Runway, Luma, Pixverse. Now this tiger eating ramen. Runway did awesome. It looks like a bite actually gets taken off. Kling has a lot of movement and looks like how a tiger would actually take a bite. Nailed it on this one. Luma did not. The food is just floating and he doesn't take a bite. Not too great with Pixverse either. It looks like he is going to take a bite at the end. Kling, Runway, Pixverse, Luma. For this one I went with a Pixar style. It's supposed to be a woman holding tea. Then the dragon blows a controlled flame to heat up the tea and then she takes a sip. It's kind of a lot to fit into 5 seconds. Runway was a good try. That's a really long time to have a flame that close to her face though, so it didn't have time to finish with a sip. Kling did a really good job, although she takes a sip while it's on fire. It did an amazing job overall. Luma didn't really follow the prompt, but looks good. Pixverse followed it pretty well. Drinking fire again though. Kling, Runway, Pixverse, Luma. For this one I wanted a dynamic driving shot with some puddles and reflections. Runway has a lot of motion, which is great, but the physics is off. It's trying to have it drift, but it's in the wrong direction. Kling had a ton of motion and did a pretty good job with the physics, better than Runway. Luma is just a slow-mo shot driving straight. Same with Pixverse, but it's driving a little faster. Kling, Runway, Pixverse, Luma. So for this one, I've got a woman in the shadows, and I prompted to have her speaking. Runway didn't have her speaking in any of the generations, which is strange because I've had speaking work pretty well in Runway before. Kling nailed it, went with kind of a handheld shot, and I wrote speaking thoughtfully, which is the vibe I get from that. With Luma, the mouth and eyes look pretty weird in this one. And Pixverse is not very good. She morphs into a different person. Kling, Luma, Runway, Pixverse. I've already shown a walk cycle, so now I wanted to see how it would handle a person running. This one is just a stock photo. Runway looks good, not perfect. She steps with her right foot twice in a row at one point. Kling, a little more slow-mo and some morphing on the sidewalk, but a decent looking run. Luma is kind of blurry, but a really good run. The best one yet, actually. The face is really morphed on Pixverse, and even more slow motion. I'll give this one to Luma, then Kling, then Runway, then Pixverse. Now for a couple holding hands and walking. A little tricky to pull off, and this is another stock photo. Great job from Runway. The hands look good and both faces stay consistent. Same with Kling, even more motion in the walk, but a little off on the hands. Not bad from Luma, not great though. Pixverse is slow-mo and low fidelity. Kling, Runway, Luma, Pixverse. Now I have 2 prompts from the text to video section, but this time I added images to show how helpful that can be. This is why I almost exclusively use image to video. This was that cliffside mansion with the lion statues. Midjourney did a much better job. I'm just gonna let each of these play through because honestly they all look really good. The nice rotating camera movement with the waves crashing below. Runway, Kling, Luma, Pixverse. Now that orc riding the dire wolf. Midjourney did a really good job with this one too. That's a really good walk from Runway. Nice tail movement too. Kling has a ton of movement. I love this one. This type of movement is something you never saw from video generators just a couple months ago and felt impossible. There's distortion and warping if you slow it down and look close, but we have come such a long way. This is amazing. Followed up by a total fail from Luma. Pixverse has some decent movement, but a lot more distortion. Kling, Runway, Pixverse, Luma. I've got a couple more really difficult movements I tried. First with skateboarding, I knew this wasn't gonna work out, but I wanted to give it a try and see how bad it would be. So I used a shot of me from back in the day. I described what was happening, that I'm supposed to catch the skateboard and land in the parking lot. Runway went completely crazy. The camera guy materializes a bike, then we morph together. Kling seems like it at least understood the concept, which is an improvement from when I've tried this in the past. Luma sort of understood too. Then Pixverse starts sort of understanding, then goes crazy. That's a really difficult shot, something we're a long ways from getting any of these generators to be able to do. And one part I think is probably particularly difficult is figuring out the physics when it's just a shot frozen in the air. So I also tried doing skateboarding with text to video as simple as possible, just a skateboarder doing a kickflip, and they all failed at that too. So with Runway, the physics are super far off, but they sort of feel right still. Kling actually tried to do some sort of trick. Luma's not that bad of someone just writing. Weird one from Pixverse. It's strange how these almost feel right even though they're so off. Like it definitely has training data on skateboarding and is doing things that are skateboarding-like. The next step from this, if that wasn't already bad enough, was a cartwheel. Seems like every time a person goes upside down, AI has no idea what to do. Even just image generators. So I tried this using a starting image for Runway and Pixverse. Neither of them have the option to add an end frame, but with Kling and Luma, I added an end frame of her mid cartwheel. Then I ran it again, starting with the mid cartwheel image and ending with her upright again. None of them got it even remotely right, but they're pretty fun to watch. Then the part that got just amazing was in Runway when I would use the extend feature, and then I just kept extending it. I ended up with what might be my favorite AI video ever. I've got all of these rankings laid out and added up the totals. I left off in the shots at the end where they were just too bad to count for anything. Based off the prompts that I ran, Kling is the winner, followed by Runway. Next was Luma, and finally Pixverse. If you're going solely based off of quality, Kling wins, but there's a lot of other factors to take into account. Like if you're going for text, Kling is the worst of all of them. The other really important factor for most people is going to be pricing and generation times. In my mind, I'm kind of comparing Kling against Runway, and then Luma against Pixverse separately. But for Kling versus Runway, Kling not only ranked better in overall quality, but it's also cheaper. Almost half the price per generation. On the lower end with Luma and Pixverse, Pixverse is cheaper. So if you don't need as high of quality as Runway or Kling for something you're working on, maybe you just need a lot of cheap generations, Pixverse could be a good option. When we move on to speed, Runway is significantly faster than all the others. These times do vary, but I did prompt at all times of day and found Runway to be faster at every time of day. I just didn't get specific numbers at the other times. The other caveat for speed is Runway was the only platform that would have errors and block generations for no reason. And that can definitely add time to the process. For how much you get under the free plans, Kling is the best of all. You hardly get any with Runway, and the 30 free you get with Luma, you don't get priority generations. And when I've tried running them under the free plan, it takes hours. Usually I'd start it and it wouldn't be ready until the next day. In Pixverse, you get 2 per day, but with Kling, it's 6 per day for better quality. On the other end, if you have a really big project, Runway has the unlimited option for $95 a month. So that's a huge bonus if you need to work on something that will take hundreds or thousands of generations. I have a complete feature breakdown as well. A lot of this has been covered as we went through, but there are a few new things on here. They can all do text to video and image to video. Luma and Kling have the option to add an end frame, which is really nice. Runway and Kling offer 5-second or 10-second generations, but Luma and Pixverse only offer 5. Runway and Kling both also offer extensions from those 10 seconds. For extensions, depending on the type of shot, they can look a little off where the camera movement will change or the subject's movement will change. It's still a great feature to have though. Kling and Pixverse have camera controls, although Runway I found to be the best at following camera directions through prompting. You can remove the watermark on all of them except Pixverse. You used to be able to, so I'm not sure what's going on with that at the moment. Then I've got the pricing and generation times again here, so it's all in one place. The primary benefits I'd break all this down into is Kling has the best free plan and the highest quality for a lot of prompts. Kling also has great value under the paid plans. Runway has the fastest generations with a comparable quality to Kling, better in some cases. It also offers the unlimited plan for big projects. Luma is cheaper and faster than both of those, but a big drop in quality. Pixverse is even cheaper than that, with another small drop in quality from Luma, but gets the most generations for the price. Hopefully that all helps. I have a ton of fun playing with video tools. It is amazing what we're able to create now. Watch this video next for a deeper dive into generative VFX with Runway. Subscribe here if you haven't already, and make sure to check out Futurepedia.io. You can find the best AI tool for any use case, keep up to date with AI innovations, browse a curated list of AI tutorials, subscribe to the free newsletter for AI news, tools, and tutorials delivered straight to your inbox. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.